Okay.
Hey guys, hey everybody out there. Hopefully you're actually watching this. I didn't just record this for my good health. But thank you for coming today. Those that are watching this, you don't get a virtual chicken biscuit, so sorry we missed you. First thing we're going to talk about is our hemophilia fundraiser. Okay, this will start July 1st. Who helped last year? Ella, Braden, Drew, Caleb, Mark. Who got shoes out of it? I didn't get shoes?
You kicked us out of the group chat right before.
Oh, no, you're kidding, right?
No.
I kept track. How did you guys not get shoes?
Well, we left like.
Is it because you probably didn't
Like
sell hardly
August
any? I
1st.
was about to say had to be pretty low.
We picked all the college students out.
Yeah. Oh, if their sales were so low, you probably wouldn't have gotten any. Okay, Braden, show the shoes that you got last time. We got first place overall, so you get to go online. They have like 3 or 4 pairs of Converses to pick from, and yeah, last year we won. So it's a good charity. If you guys don't know, we'll have Zoom meetings. There's 3 Zoom options to attend our kickoffs. One will be this Saturday, 11 a.m. One will be Monday at 5 p.m. and one will be Tuesday at 5 p.m. You can join any of those Zooms. Ryan will probably have Kai, his son, who has hemophilia, on there. Hemophilia is basically for blood disorders. Kai particularly, when he gets like a cut or injury, his blood doesn't clot, to stop the bleeding. So it can be very life-threatening. A simple injury, a simple cut or a simple fall for a normal child is no big deal, but someone with hemophilia, they can die from it. So they do a lot of research into a lot of therapies that can save lives. It's very expensive as well, those therapies. So between the Hemophilia Foundation and St. Jude's, it's a huge help. So what we do is we do a simple roundup ask. And again, a lot of this will be repeated on the Zoom, but the important thing is this only works and we only raise money if you actually ask. And it's a roundup, and that's all we do. And we just say, can you round up, for hemophilia. They like for you to say bleeding disorders. I don't like to say the word bleeding, like around people like they're eating. I think it's kind of a little off-putting, so I just say, can you round up for hemophilia? And we'll have a little sign right there and you point to it. If you say may, it's not as hard of an ask. If it's can, it's using the word can is like, are you actually able to do this? Well, yeah, I can do that. Or if you ask, do you want to? Well, that's an easier person. You'll get more no's by saying, do you want to, than can you. Because we all can round up for 50 cents, but if you ask somebody, do you want, psychologically, they're more likely to say no than if you give them the words can. Because yeah, they can. It's not going to affect them financially to give 50 cents to this fundraiser. But we raised like $10,000 last year, so just by asking that across our store. And we're going to raise way more because we have other businesses, other restaurants participating with us this year. So we'll be able to make a really big donation this year. But this will be based off of each store's performance will be individual to that store who will win the shoes. And we'll have that data like weekly to keep track of. And it really came down between us and the Charlotte store last year. And Ryan will say we tied, but we didn't tie. We won. So they'll probably give it to the top 2, but we won last year. Yeah, definitely. So, but it'll be able to see weekly, and then we will be able to see on the register. You'll actually ring in these asks, so we'll individually be able to see who is doing well with the ask and who's actually raising funds and who is not. And so I'll do like register shift assignments based off of those points. I can't stress that enough. The better you are at the ask, the stronger you are at the ask. Like I'm gonna make sure you're on the register like definitely during those peak times, because that's when we get the most yeses. And don't get discouraged. If you go through a line and like 20 people tell you no, like just keep asking, because it's okay. It's not, it's no different, but don't get discouraged if you get a lot of no's. Because, if 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 say yes, it's just another 50 cents or dollar that goes towards a great fundraising. We do, in your fall audit, we will look at your participation rates and what your percentages were. The overall goal for each employee is, I'd love for everybody to hit 50% of all your ring ups asked for your transactions. You get half that say yes. We had some days we had employees that would run 90%. 90% yeses. I can go back and look at the data, but it was very high last year. I mean, it was like 50% when almost every employee got it. It's a very easy ask. This was very successful, like our gift card promo was in the winter. That was successful. But yeah, hemophilia kickoff. We'll have the Zoom meetings. I'll put them in the group chat as well as the dates, and I'll post the links as well to sign in. But just sign into one of the three. Either the Monday, the Tuesday, or this Saturday at 11. Whichever one you're like available or not. If you're working one of those days, pick a different day to sign in for. Okay, so the other things we talk about are just really a lot of housekeeping items. I don't know why I'm logging into that. It's not on there.
Brad,
Sir.
how long will those Zoom meetings last?
Shouldn't be long, 20, 30 minutes. It'll be quick. Mark, will you go give me the shift assignment sheet off of the, above the bed there so we can talk about that and just try to make sure everybody's clear on those shift assignments. Cake orders as well. I'm gonna want to talk on our cake orders. We can always improve on that. Errors as well as the new pricing guide sheet. My face is right in front of it. Open. Okay, let's see. I can pull that file up. Got that one there. Let's talk about shift assignments first. Okay, so we've been using shift assignments. How accurate do you guys actually follow this? I see you smiling. Not at all. Maybe sometimes when it's convenient. So the point is really, I put the shift assignments in place is that to give some kind of organization to the team, because I was noticing like you might have on a busy shift, you might have 2 or 3 people making. Basically, we did this mostly for DoorDash orders, is that the biggest issue we run into is that you could have 2 or 3 people making DoorDash orders when the line's to the door. Well, no, like we don't want to be doing that, right? That's why we have one person assigned only to do DoorDash. And when they're not doing DoorDash orders, they're serving with everyone else. But otherwise, they're filling the DoorDash orders, and they're the only one that should be filling the DoorDash orders when it's busy. When it's slow, anybody can do these things. But this really applies when it's busy, what everyone should be doing to stay on task. Your cashier person should be ringing up on the register, as well as they should be able to keep the register area wiped down and clean. Every shift, you guys need to pay attention to right in front of that register. People drip ice cream there all day long, right in front of that register. When you're ringing up, if you see someone spill ice cream on that counter, wipe it up while it's still wet, so that the next person doesn't come around with their purse and set it right in that ice cream, and then they have cotton candy stuck to the bottom of their purse, then they take it to their car, and then they stick their purse down on their car, and then it gets on their car seats, and you really ruin nice stuff. Just keep a rag and keep it handy to wipe that up. But as well as your cashier, keep the register area clean. They need to be paying attention to spoons and napkins, keeping those stocked, as well as helping with cookies. You can help bag cookies as well at the same time. But when this register person keeps up, the person in charge, the pick, they should be jumping over to the register. If you're the person in charge, don't just keep like cleaning or stocking if the register's backed up. You need to jump over to the register area and help them. Help them either bag up cookies, help them get like group orders together to help get them rang up. And once that customer starts on that credit card transaction, go ahead and tender out on the POS so you can clear the POS and so you can ring up the next group while that customer is finishing the credit card. Does that make sense? So you're doing 2 customers at the same time on one machine. That way you're not waiting. But this person in charge needs to be helping. If it's getting lids, or it's bagging up orders, bagging up cookies, so that cashier is just trying to get that line down. Because there's no sense in just keep serving and serving and serving if that register is backed up. You're just gonna create a long backlog all the way around. So you've got to stop this, whoever the pick is on that night, and help that cashier get caught back up. And then once that cashier's caught up, they should be able to stay ahead unless they have a hiccup, like somebody comes up and wants a remake, or somebody just comes up to pick up an order and they have to like pause what they're doing of handling the line. The person in charge needs to be aware of that and jump over and give them a hand. Third party person is the one obviously handling all the third party orders. When they're not doing third party orders, they need to be serving. If third party is backed up, change your pickup times to longer. Just stick them out longer. If it's taking you longer to do it, or if there's a shift where you're short-handed, I'd rather you not pause third party. Just put it on for like 30 minutes. If the driver shows up early and you put 30 minutes, the driver just has to wait. Like, it's okay. We told the driver what time to arrive, but you have to confirm that time. And when you confirm that time, don't just randomly confirm any time. Confirm a realistic time of what it's going to take you to get the order made. Don't just confirm every order at 10 minutes, and then when all these drivers show up, you're like, oh, well, you didn't manage your time well. So kick these orders out longer if you need more time to make these orders. But don't just confirm them at a short time. And if the drivers show up early, it's okay. They have to wait. I mean, it says what time the order will be ready at. If you've ever delivered for third party for DoorDash, you go to any of these restaurants, they're waiting. They'll be okay. If they make a fuss, it's fine. We told them what time to come. We can't help it they came early. But I prefer you not to pause this. Obviously if it's something where you're completely short-staffed, somebody didn't show up for work or something, that's different, but we really don't have that type of issue. I'd rather we just tell them, 25 or 30 minutes for their order. Person in charge. This is a critical shift. This is your shift leader. The shift leader is basically the person who should be keeping the store clean and stocked at all times, and as well as you should see yourself as a shark in the water. You're constantly moving around looking for stuff that is wrong, stuff that needs to be fixed. You're listening with your ears to what the customers are saying with the employees, with your coworkers, and you're identifying if there's an issue. You can hear it, you're saying, oh, okay, this is a problem with this order. Let me jump in and give a hand. If you're hearing something getting escalated, pitch in, help out on that. If an ice cream needs to be stopped, you should be doing that. You should be wiping the tables, keeping the counters clean, monitoring trash. All of that is, think of yourself as a shark in the water. You're always moving, and you're always looking for what needs to be done, what is out of order, what is not right, cookies need stopped. That is your primary job, is cleaning and restocking and just making sure the flow of service is running smoothly. When those things are done, then obviously jump in, either help out of the register or help customers serve. But your primary job is not to be serving first and foremost. It should be making sure everything else is running smoothly to keep the line flowing. So obviously if everything is done and we're good, then jump in and you help serve to help move the line. But you shouldn't have other employees having to stop to refill or restock. Servers need to just be staying on serving, that way we keep everybody in their assigned areas. And then obviously our servers, your primary job is obviously to prepare orders, take orders, interact with the customers, upsell cookies, make any of the orders that come out. Your job should not be having to stop and restock. That should be what the shift leader should be doing. Your shift leader should be doing your restocking while you're focusing on preparing more orders. When you need something, you should ask the shift leader, hey, can you pull a vanilla, can you pull a coffee, so you don't have to stop to do it. That should be the shift leader, you should be pulling them to go do it, not you. This is when it's, obviously this is when it's busy. I mean, when it's slow, you know, you guys, anybody can do these tasks. But these are those during those peak times so that we're moving the line officially. This is that like 7 to 10 time frame on the weekend, you know, on a Friday or Saturday night, or that like 2 to 10 on Saturdays and Sundays, depending on what the weather is doing. Those come in spurts during the day. But generally that 7 to 9 hours are the busiest hours of our days. So that's the time when we need to just really be optimizing our shift assignments. Questions on those? No? Okay. Awesome. All right, cake orders. So we put out a new sheet for these cake orders. This is not perfect. It's perfect science, you guys. We're kind of making this up as we go with our cake orders. The idea on the custom sheet is to essentially decrease the amount of ridiculous cake orders that we get. Stuff that is very difficult to do. Essentially, if you're in doubt about the cake, it needs to be, before you take the order and say we can actually do it, it needs to be approved by essentially the person that's going to be on decorating that day. So it needs to be posted into the group chat or sent to me via email, and then either I can approve it or we can post it in the group chat. You can take the order, but just you need to inform the customer, you know, that hey, we'll have to get back to you, because you're gonna, if they come in and order at night, just tell them, you know, we're gonna have to follow up with you tomorrow about it. If they need a follow up on it, just make sure that, you know, just put that in the group so I can call them and put their phone number in there. So if I'm not at the store, I can call them and just, you know, let them know the pricing on it if it's not like an instant response. I'm not 100% sure, you know, if this is the most accurate way or the best way of doing this. Literally, we're making this up as we go, because my ultimate goal is to just decrease the amount of the complexity in our cake orders, because they take too long. And so by adding a premium charge on, that's the point, is that customers will be like, oh, well, the regular, all of a sudden, you know, when you tell them it's gonna be $3 to dye one color, you know, when you say, well, we have dark blue or light blue, all of a sudden the light blue or the dark blue works okay. And no longer do we have to make, you know, a special type of blue, or no more are they concerned about a, you know, a turquoise when we tell them we have light green or dark green. It's suddenly that green is okay. So that's the point of the upcharges, is to get us away from having to dye so many colors without customers paying extra for them, or when they show up with a complex cake order and you tell them it's going to be $5 more, suddenly they decide to pick something simpler. That's on purpose. So when we're taking these, you can kind of determine your levels. Obviously, level 1 is no custom colors, and it's a simple design. You know, simple. You know, it's simple lines, circles, squares, rectangles, triangles. You know, simple shapes to make. Perfect example was like the Ninja Turtle head. That's a simple design. Nothing's complicated about it. A Clemson paw is a simple design. A Harry Potter Ravenclaw cake? No, that's not a simple design. It's way too many details. That one, you know, even if it doesn't have custom colors, you have to let them know that's a complex design, and it's going to have to be an upcharge. So basically, a $5 upcharge, the simplest way to put it is it has 2 custom colors, and it's going to take the employee about 20 minutes to decorate it. A $10 upcharge would be something with 3 colors, and it's going to take them about half an hour to decorate it. A $15 upcharge is going to have 4 colors, 3 or 4 custom colors, and it's going to take, you know, over 30 minutes to decorate. And then there's a $20 upcharge, and it's going to take them, you know, 4 to 6 custom colors, and it's going to take them 45 minutes to upgrade. So like those 2-tier ice cream cakes where I had to dye several colors, and you know, I had to make it 2 tiers, and then we had to order, you know, a lot of that. I charged them like $100 to do that 2-tier cake. So I upcharged for stuff like that, because it's a lot more, you know, work involved as well as like materials. So
you know, if somebody's wanting a cake, you know, in 15 minutes, we obviously can't do these like extravagant cakes. They need to, you know, if somebody wants a more extravagant cake, they have to have time for us to actually prepare it. I've also listed all of our free colors on the sheet out front. These are all the colors we house, no extra charge. So you can see them all typed up on the sheet. Decorators. So if we do a custom cake, we just need to write it on the board in the back, the decorator's name, how much the upcharge was, and all custom cakes where they're upcharged will need to either collect their payment by phone or while they're in store for an upcharge on the cake as the customer's name. And then the decorator is paid 50% of that upcharge fee. So if it's a $10 upcharge for a specialty cake, the decorator would receive $5 extra for doing that cake. Again, I don't perceive this new procedure, I don't perceive us getting as many of these cakes. The whole point of this was to discourage custom colors and all this customization. So it's not, but if somebody really wants it, you know, we'll pay you extra for it as long as we get the cake right. Obviously, if there's an issue with the cake, you know, like a name is spelled wrong or, you know, something happens and we have to refund the cake, then we can't pay out like any kind of extra incentives because there was an error on the cake. So when you are taking the cake orders, usually the biggest errors I would say with cake orders is over the phone. That's when we have the most issues with the cake order. That it's loud, you have distractions going on, and you know, you're trying to get a custom cake order, somebody might be not describing something well to you for it. So we need to confirm those cake orders the most. If you are unclear of the spelling of the name, ask them to email the Marble Slab email. It's on the whiteboard at 179@gmail.com. Ask them to email what they want on the cake in writing, and then we can print it out and put it with that slip. What we don't need to do is keep messing up names and then having to do refunds on cakes because we got the name wrong. Also, if you're calling in on the phone to take an cake order, offer and say, we do offer online cake order placing, if you want to look at all our options, at greatamericancookies.com. Encourage them to visit greatamericancookies.com to place their order. Because obviously we have the least amount of errors if the cake is ordered online. We almost have 0 compared to phone and in-person order errors. If you are taking an order online, over the phone or in person, please mark the cake paid or not. And the new thing I want you to do is attach the receipt to the order. I can't stress that enough. We're gonna I want you to staple the paid receipt to the customer's order when they prepay for it. You can either staple the POS receipt or the credit card receipt to it, so that we have it. It's gonna make it a whole lot easier for the employee who's working to know for fact that cake has been paid for. Because I can tell you for a fact, I have seen more than once cakes go out and they haven't been paid for, and the customer tells you they've been paid for. So I would like you guys to try to collect all cake orders prepaid. I mean, if obviously the customer is like, no, I want to wait, that's fine, don't make it a big deal. But otherwise, just automatically, if it's on the phone, you know, take the payment over the phone with them, or if it's in person, just go ahead and ring them up. Don't ask them if they want to pay for it now. Just go ahead and just say, okay, I'll take you out to register for your order, and just go ahead and ring them up. So, questions on that? Anything else that we can improve on that one? It's probably the biggest source of customer complaints we get is with cakes, which is natural. I mean, it's naturally business. You're making a specialty product.
I haven't taken one of these orders yet, but whenever I do, say like they're paying over the phone or whenever they're paying, is there a button that's like +5, +10, +10 on cash register?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's actually one where you can, so the button, when you push the button, it'll give you a box and you can type in any amount to be charged for upcharge on a cake. And if you don't know on the upcharge cakes, you guys, those, we can always call back the next day and take the payment over the phone for those. Obviously, if you don't get a response in group chat, like, in a time that you need a response for it, obviously, we can just call back in and get that customer's payment over the phone later to get that final price for them. just tell them it has to be custom quoted, because it's not a normal design. And sometimes they'll just say, oh, it's gonna cost me more, nope, never mind, I'll do something simple. Because that's the whole point, is that, once they realize that they're gonna pay more for something that's complex, they all of a sudden change their tune, and they realize it's no longer $33 and it's gonna be $40, they change their mind. And that's the point of it, is to simplify it, because when we have 30 cakes going out, in an 8-hour shift, we need to simplify it. Okay. The other thing I want to do, and I want to run this guys past you, is I want to turn off the receipts for the register, not the credit card machine. And then anybody that wants a paper receipt on the register, we just manually reprint it. Does that sound okay? Because we don't need to store them. If there's a signature going in, it's stored electronically. So there's really no point other than a coupon. So anytime you take a coupon, you'll need to reprint the POS receipt and then staple it. But we're printing all of those things on all that thermal paper, and literally they're just going in a box, or they're going in the trash, and there's no point. We're just wasting paper. Or to just sit in Lane's basement, stacked floor to ceiling. So, I mean, honestly, one of the switches he's running out of room. Because he has to keep these things for the IRS, for audits, for I think it's seven or 10 years. So he has boxes of just daily reports of all your receipts piled up in his basement, times 6 stores. So you can see how quick that multiplies over a decade. So we need to reduce the space it takes up. So I'd like to just stop printing those, and we just reprint ones for coupons, because we don't need it for anything else. If a customer asks for a copy or for coupons, otherwise I just won't have it turned on. And anybody after the meeting, I can show you how to reprint an invoice. It literally takes 2 seconds.
So, are there electronic ones for him? Are they all?
Yes, everything's on the cloud. So he doesn't need them. It's all electronically stored in the cloud. But because it gets wrapped in with all the other paperwork, all the coupons and stuff, and the daily reports, he's not gonna go through and throw away all those. And there's no point in just throwing more paper in the trash. We already throw away enough stuff. So we don't need to create more garbage than we already do for those.
Still printed out for the curbside pickup?
I'm sorry?
Still printed out for the curbside pickup?
For curbside pickup?
Yes.
Yeah, please. I'm begging.
Okay, so I just need to get it so that the whole point of curbside pickup was that they would order it online. So I can turn it on, and then that way somebody calls for curbside pickup, they have to order it through the app. And that way it's already paid for, and it's in a bag, and you're literally it's like a cake. You're just carrying it out there, and you're not back and forth 5 times.
As long as we don't do it on the phone.
Right, you're not taking orders over the phone. So here is my problem with it currently. So when an online app order comes in,
He is asking about when we get a curbside over the phone and if you take a receipt out.
yeah, I know.
I don't
Yeah.
think he knows about that.
Okay. Their credit card slip should be adequate. If not, just print one off the register for it. What I'm trying to get at though is getting out of doing the curbside the way we do it now and doing it where they order it on the app and then they can call the store to come in and we'll carry it out to them. But right now, the only way for you to see it is it would turn red on the computer.
Like where the cake orders come?
And it would mix them in with the cake orders. And my fear is that it would get mixed in. There's no way to separate them or you wouldn't see it. So my thought is to get another printer and then it'll print out. The problem is we're 2 concepts. So if somebody wants to place an order for ice cream through the app, they have to just order ice cream through the Marble Slab app. In the cookie app, they'd have to order cookies through the cookie app, and then we'd have to either have 2 printers where it prints out the orders either through the printer above the cookie station, or we have another printer where we can distinguish ice cream printouts at another area and then cookie printouts at another area. So I haven't really figured out the best way to manage it so that it doesn't get screwed up. Because it's,
Could you pull up the POS, just that part of the POS on another system, like an iPad or something?
no, I've asked about the iPad, and you'd have to replace the entire system, and the iPad system, we've tested it at one store, and it's so bad, it's so un-user-friendly, the software, is that we won't invest in it in any other stores, because it's horrible. We're actually trying to like return it at our current location, because it's that bad of a system. You can't even swipe a gift card on it, that's how bad it is. You have to manually type in the gift cards. They don't even have a reader for it, so it's very much not ready for use. No, Greenville, North Main. Yeah, gift cards. Oh, yeah, yes, I'm trying to replace more parts to get theirs to work. They have a brand new system that doesn't work. So, my thought is just only turning it on and then just having the two printers, and maybe we just move both printers somewhere else. I don't know how else to manage it, because it's gonna get mixed in with all the cake orders too. But if you're busy, just say, I'm sorry, like, when there's a line, we can't take, curbside pickup. I don't mind. If there's a line to the door, just say, I'm sorry, we can't do curbside pickup at this time. You have to come in store. If they get upset, they get upset. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just, you don't get to jump the line. Yeah, why not? You gonna melt? The hardest thing is, I know people are doing curbside when it's busy is an issue. So I don't mind if you tell someone no when there's a line to the door. But if it's dead, there's no reason to tell them no. But with that secondary credit card machine, the one you can walk out to the customer, it doesn't do as much good if you guys don't keep it plugged in. So when you're done with it, plug it back in.
When I had to use it the other day and I plugged it in because it was dead, after I plugged it in, it still wouldn't come on.
Yeah, because the battery's dead. Yeah, it takes like 15 minutes for the battery to even recharge. So when you're done using that, plug it right back in. That battery's only like 4 or 6 hours. So by the time the next morning comes, it's completely drained, and then it takes like all day to recharge. So when you're using that portable credit card thing to do like the curbside, plug it back in so we have it. That way the battery's charged on it, and that way it'll save you walking back and forth so much. But again, I don't mind you telling someone, just say, I'm sorry if it's busy, we can't do curbside. When it's slow, you guys, we don't need to be parking ourselves on the prep tables, just sitting there. It's not okay. I don't know where your bottom has been, but it doesn't need to go on a food service table. We don't need to be sitting on milk crates when we're slow. There's plenty to do. I guarantee you I can find 10 things that can be cleaned at any one shift. The last thing I want to do is be the person who is like constantly the eye in the sky calling the store and trying to give you guys stuff to do, because you can't be responsible enough to pick up a rag and wipe something down, or organize something or clean something. It's like, if I'm not here, it's, the first thing we all want to do is just sit on the prep table and play on our phone, or, eat an ice cream, or, completely ignore everything else that's going on. And it shouldn't be the shift leader's job to be the one to constantly have to beg you to do something. If you look at the schedule and you're like, why do I get 1 day a week and everybody else gets more? Well, it's probably because you're not doing anything when you're here. So take that to heart, like change your behaviors, let me see an improvement, because I might not call you out every single time on the phone because I'm not gonna be a hovering vulture, but there's a reason why you get scheduled less if you're not getting the hours. It's because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's because your coworkers don't wanna have to babysit you and pick up your slack. If you're not pulling your weight, no one's gonna wanna work with you. So, be here to help, be a team player, find what needs to be done and do it. Don't pick the laziest route possible, because, those are employees that we don't give raises to, we don't give them hours, and essentially they just get terminated. So keep that in mind. It's like, use your time wisely here. Most shifts are only like, 5 to 6 hours, so when you're here, do something productive with it when it's slow. Otherwise, like shift leaders, we should just, if they're not gonna do anything that's slow, we just need to send them home, because they're not helping you. They're just they're just hurting you as a team, so, they're not willing to help. You know, just let them go home for that night, make your life easier, if it's one less person you have to babysit. Cause we don't wanna have to babysit anybody, we need to work as a team. Couple other things I noticed, drinks, they're not free, bottled water's not free. So, preferably, I would rather you just bring your own cup, thermos to work. But if you're gonna take a water or soda, it's a good word, soda or a pop, please pay for it. They're not free. So I will say I do have to, there is a shortage because staff have just been helping themselves to them. So on my food costs, I can tell obviously how many we've rung up versus how many, you know, we've consumed. I can tell every month what we've used, and that will have to be rebalanced out. So that will have to come out of tips to rebalance those numbers because they're obviously stolen by employees. It's not significant. I mean, a case of water is $5. You know what I mean? But it's still, you know, if you got 120 missing in a month, you know, it's quite a few waters, so, or sodas. So if you take a drink, please pay for it. Don't steal it. I appreciate it. So we don't give them out for free because it's a pain to keep up with, constantly like having to keep up with another inventory item. So I would prefer, I discourage it because I'd rather you guys just bring your own beverages than for me to have to be the one that constantly has to go to Sam's and buy even more water just to provide the staff with more beverages. I'd rather just bring your own bottles forward. So, sorry, I don't have my list in front of me. The other issue is just being aware at shift change and at closings, when we're leaving at 5 o'clock, openers, you know, we need to make sure that we're leaving the store in a way that is, you know, conducive to what you'd want to see when you walk in, is that the store is neat and cleaned and, you know, it's, you know, restocked for the most part, you know, and it's not like it looks like a hurricane. Because, you know, openers get upset if the closings are dirty. Closers get upset if they walk into a mess from the openers. So openers, before we leave, we want to make sure things are nice and neat and organized. Closers, the same, is like your shift leaders, just do a final walkthrough and just look. Closers yourselves, look around and just say, what can I do better? What needs to be addressed for the openers? And the same thing goes for the openers. Just take a once through and make sure things look nice so that we're not leaving the closers set up for failure. Because if we set our closers up for failure, then our closings are gonna be bad. And just like if our closers leave a bad closing, then the openings are gonna be bad because then they're gonna have to take more time to clean, to get things back to where they were, or they're gonna ignore it, and then there just piles up, and then it's just an endless cycle. So just be conscious of your teammates so that we don't just keep dumping on each other. It doesn't happen a lot. It's usually little things, but nobody likes it. You know, I hear it and I'm like, oh, I agree, it sucks. But I'm also not one to like constantly want to hound everybody about those items because it's not a good thing to work about. It's just constantly getting nagged. It's like having your mom nag you all the time to clean your rooms or something. Nobody wants to hear it. Okay, without my list in front of me, I think I'm gonna open it up to you guys. Everybody always tells me after the meeting, they're like, oh, you should have said this.
Have y'all made any comments yet?
Today? Dude, McKenna's making comments right now.
I was gonna text you last night, but it was like 11, so I was like.
Yeah, we were I knew we were out yesterday. We had like sort of it. We already have some. Anything else?
If you're not on the clock, please not come in the back of the store.
Yes, okay, so that is very helpful, thank you. So it can be a huge distraction for productivity if we have too many hands in the kitchen, or, you know, it's like people come in and then, you know, we start talking to one another and then we like lose track of what is like going on, and then production then slows down. Because then we're excited to see that person, then we start a conversation, and then we get very distracted. So like if you come in for your tips or something, you know, you should be there just for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then like, you know, dip out. You know, because a lot of times, you know, they might have a lot going on, and an extra person in there can be distracting to getting everything accomplished, because then maybe a server wants to come back and say, hey, and then there's like, the line might back up, because then the server's distracted, because they want to speak to their coworker, because it's, you know, I know, you know, we're all like pretty close and friends, and we want to talk to each other, but it's very distracting when, you know, we come in and hang out. And I've seen it at night too. It's like, don't like come out, you know, don't come hang out at night when they're closing, because it's gonna, you know, all of a sudden now closing took another 30 minutes because, you know, Jackie was here to, you know, come and hang out, you know, especially like even friends that don't work here. I've seen this before. It's like, if your friend doesn't even work, like friends don't need to come and like hang out in the store if you work here, if you don't, because it slows you down. And then you're like, man, I was here an extra half hour. What happened? Well, you know, your friend was here and they distracted you, and you worked about a third of the pace you normally would have because you didn't want to walk off from your conversation. So be mindful of that. It's like, if you're coming to get tips on a Monday, you know, come in and get your tips or paycheck, you know, come in and get your paycheck and leave. If you're coming to get an ice cream, you know, just, you know, come through the line and get your ice cream, and then, you know, you can say quick hello, but don't hang out. Because it greatly reduces production. Anybody that works during the day knows it. I see you nodding your head, you know it, right? You know, anytime we bring somebody else in, it's like, we're like, squirrel. And we all chase the squirrel, and then we're like, crap, where'd our time go? So it really slows things down. So, thank you, that was a good one. Anything else? All right, thanks guys, thanks for coming. I hope you watch this at YouTube. If you actually stayed all the way to the end, send me a text message and let me know you actually watched it. Even if you watched it at like 2x.
Code word. Gotta put a code word.
Code word is pool time. Code word pool time. You have to text me code word pool time if you actually watch this video. Thank you. You can stop it.